In 1995, while Mary and I lived in Kansas City, I got an invitation to join the National Board of Youth for Christ. Now, throughout our whole married life experience, I'd volunteered, run a campus life club. Mary was on our JJM staff. I'd been a local board chair in Nashville, Tennessee. Mary actually served in a board in Elkhart, Indiana. So we had been very engaged with the ministry of Youth for Christ during our whole married life. But to join the national board seemed like a great privilege in 1995. So I joined the board and learned a lot, grew a lot in my appreciation for what the boardroom is like and the guarding of the mission and proper governance and so on through multiple really strong leaders that were board chairs and so on. That was during Roger Cross's tenure. And in 2004, when Roger stepped away from the leadership role in Youth for Christ, I volunteered to help shape the profile for the next president of Youth for Christ. I had done this in GE circles, and I knew what succession planning looked like. I had the documents, the templates to fill out and so on. And I remember going home one day after work and walking in the door and saying to Mary, well, I finished that job profile for the role of President of Youth for Christ USA. There isn't anybody in the world that can do that job. And believing in my heart that it was so expansive and so challenging that it would take a real move of God to direct somebody into that spot. It was about 2 weeks after that somebody contacted me off the board and said, would you be willing to have your name stand as a potential candidate for this job? And I was both humbled by that request and offended at the same time, because I had a good job. I had a role that I felt like I'd spent 28 years getting myself to, and this wasn't even on my radar. But I spent some serious time dialoguing, praying, and I had specifically one airplane flight from Reagan National Airport back to not to Denver, but to Kansas City, where Mary and I lived. And I remember getting on that airplane and really having a dialogue with the Father. It started out with a monologue where I simply said, God, here's why this doesn't make any sense. You've called me to the roles you've called me to. We're active in a church. We love our community. We have 2 kids at Taylor University. Certainly, you can't mean that we're going to change jobs at this point in our lives. And God was patient and thoughtful, but very direct, and made it clear during that flight that He loved my kids and my family far more than I would ever love them. That He hadn't forgotten them in asking me to have an open heart to what God might be doing. So I landed in Kansas City, didn't quit my job, but certainly with an open heart to say, Lord, if the board of directors of YFC USA asks me to take this job, I'll take this job. And fortunately, Mary was way ahead of me. As I sort of described what this was like for me, she was like, well, yeah, I think I'm already there. She had already come to the place where her heart was more pliable and open to this.